Green Senator Nick McKim threatened Woolworths CEO Brad Banducci with jail time for refusing to answer a question about the supermarket chain's profitability.
Why won't you confirm what your ROE was?
Senator, with due respect, we focus on our return on investment.
All right, I know what you focus on. Thank you,
focus
Mr. Banducci. I know what you focus on.
I've answered the question many times.
You have not answered the question, Mr. Banducci.
These
Honestly, I'm not interested in your spin or your bull. This is a Senate inquiry. Answer the question.
Senator, I sit here before you very respectfully saying we measure ourselves return on investment.
Very respectfully not answering the question. It is open to the Senate to hold you in contempt, and that carries potential sanctions, including up to 6 months imprisonment for you.
Senator, I've tried to be very specific in saying what we focus on. That is where my focus is.
Well, we can't say it wasn't entertaining, but you don't expect a Senate inquiry to descend into this sort of behaviour and discourse.
Rich, you certainly don't. And Brad Banducci has been making headlines for all the wrong reasons this year. His handling of Australia Day, his infamous interview with Four Corners where he walked out mid-interview and then later returned and asked them to scrub part of the interview. And now this performance. I really think Brad Banducci's media strategy and dealing with responding to questions has been totally tarnished. He clearly can't answer questions under pressure.
Well, and just mishandling of the situations like that, because that got to that point because I think he refused just to say, I take that question on notice, I'll come back with an answer if you didn't know the answer. Now, let's talk about the reckoning coming in the UK for all those who pushed for children to undergo medically unsafe gender transition therapies and surgeries. This follows the release of the explosive CAS report. Some are attempting to deny their involvement, like the head of the transgender advocacy youth organisation, Mermaids.
We're not clinical professionals. We don't get involved in the decisions that are made between a young person, their family and their clinicians.
But Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling is a one-woman fact-checking unit. She wrote, "Absolute, total, shameless lies. Your ex-CEO referred children to the Tavistock Gender Clinic. Mermaids has repeatedly claimed puberty blockers are reversible, sent out breast binders to girls as young as 13 and insisted publicly that unless children are affirmed in their trans identities, they'll kill themselves. Your fingerprints are all over the catastrophe of child transition, and those who funded you, campaigned for you and allowed you to embed yourselves in healthcare systems need to be held to account." Bravo. Goodness me, she is a force of nature, that one. We need a few J.K. Rowlings right here in Australia because surely there has to be a reckoning here. We are on this path ourselves, but we don't have a CAS review. We don't have any sort of analysis of what's happening in that area. And I think enormous harm is being done to children with very little oversight.
Well, Rita, it was interesting in that interview too. You know, the lady kept saying, we're not medical experts, we're not medical experts. Well, they've been advocating for this. Exactly. And then they're sort of throwing their hands up in as though, you know, this has got nothing to do with us, we're not experts in this, you know, blah, blah, blah. And yes, we do need to be careful in Australia. There's a lot of concern around this. And also children being told you can change your gender. I mean, these times have changed very quickly in this space, Rita, as you know, and there's an awful lot of parents worried about this too.
Oh, absolutely. And there's just such resistance from state governments and federal government to just do a review, just to do an independent review of what's happening in these gender clinics that treat children. So we can be sure that we're not repeating the mistakes that are being made in the UK and the US. But given that we've adopted the gender affirming model, chances are we are. Sophie Ellsworth, thank you so much for your time tonight.